I was 11 years old. When I was strong enough, I dedicated my life to the study of fencing. So the next time we meet, I will not fail. I will go up to the six-fingered man and say, "Hello. My name is Inigo Montoya. You killed my father. Prepare to die."
And you're listening to episode 7?
Yeah, you got it right.
Of Press Play Podcast. I'm Ian.
I'm Seth.
And we want to thank everybody who's listening on YouTube and Spotify, Stitcher, Apple Podcasts. I think that's all of them. But, you know, when you're on Apple Music, there's like 8 other app-based podcast streaming sites that you can listen to. So we're on all those. I can't name them all because I just mentioned, you know, the big 4. But thanks for everybody that's listening. You can check us out on Facebook at Podcast Press Play. We always like to let people know what's coming up in the next episode. Like earlier today, I posted, you know, hey, thanks for everybody that's listening. And I was super excited for this episode in particular because I watched this movie on Sunday because I was on a flight from Los Angeles to Sacramento, and you know, I just had the movie. And I was like, I'm gonna watch this movie, and my girlfriend's right next to me. Didn't pay attention to her at all. That's just how good of a movie that we're talking about today. And if you listened to last week's episode, or if you follow us on Facebook, you'll know that today we're going to talk about The Princess Bride. Okay, this is one of the best movies I've ever seen in my life. So this will probably be a gush fest.
Yes, it probably will be because there's. I can't really think of anything bad to say about this film.
I really can't either, and I forget what Carrie Elways said on Twitter the other day. This was going to be a nerd news, but it ended up not happening. It was basically him saying, here it is, I pulled up the tweet. He said they were talking about remaking the movie, which everyone on the internet immediately went no.
Yeah.
So I think they scrapped it.
I hope so.
But when the news broke that Princess Bride remake is being discussed, not confirmed, just discussed, the internet went crazy. And Carrie Elways himself said, this is the exact tweet, "There's a shortage of perfect movies in this world. It would be a pity to damage this one."
Absolutely. I could not agree more.
Couldn't have put it better myself.
No.
Because he's right. This is, in my opinion, a perfect movie. And very few of those actually exist.
Yeah, this is true. This movie's it's just so damn charming.
And it's so special.
It is. It is. Ever since I was a kid, this has been one of my favorite films, and it's a shame. I mean, I don't know if anybody knows it. This movie bombed in the box office.
Yeah, it
did not become popular until they invented the VCR.
And it's such a perfect movie that when I find out somebody hasn't seen this movie, I will either shame them or go directly to my DVD closet and find it to make this person watch the movie. And
one of my roommates the other night, when we were sitting there going through the on-demand list, and I was like, "Oh, The Princess Bride." She's like, "I've never seen that," and I'm like, "You're kidding me, right? Stop! We're solving this right now." So yeah. And I watched it again this morning.
Dude, you were there when this happened, and it made me so angry. I found out my girlfriend had never seen this movie, and I told her, we're watching this movie tonight. So it's me, you, another guy friend of ours, and her sitting down to watch this movie. She fell asleep before they even got up the cliff, and then she went to bed. I thought, okay, well, I'm going to be single tomorrow. I'm not, but
basically it turned into 3 grown men sitting around watching Princess Bride, drinking wine and fucking liquor.
That is exactly how they're done. I even brought it up. Like, the movie's like maybe a third of the way through, and I just look around. I'm like, you know, this is 3 grown men watching The Princess Bride, and we're all like,
yeah,
so
exactly.
I don't care.
This movie, oh man, it's. The story in it's just everything's so simple and like I said, it's charming and it's sweet and it's so funny and it's so clever. It's well acted. It's perfectly cast. I don't know, man. This might be the best adaptation of a book ever.
I think it actually might be because I remember watching this movie when I was a kid. And I loved the sword fights. I loved so much about it. But you know, as you get older, there's just more about the movie that you find appealing? Like, because like when I'm a kid, of course I like sword fights and all that. I didn't give a crap about princesses and all that nonsense. And later on, when I got older, I started to get more of the humor.
Yeah,
which is another thing that this movie shines in is how funny it is.
It is very funny,
and it's not a comedy by any means, but I mean, this movie has a little bit of everything. It's got romance, it has comedy, it has action, and all this everything that we want in a movie, it has. And I can't talk enough good about this movie. And you talk about perfectly cast, dude. I've never seen Cary Elwes in a movie and not thought about this movie.
No, me either.
Because this is honestly his shining legacy.
I would think so. Yeah, this is the best role he's ever had,
and probably ever will have. Because I mean, the next thing I think of when I think of Cary Elwes is probably Saw.
Mine's
maybe Robin Hood.
Mine's going to be Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves, or I'm sorry, Men in Tights.
Yes, which is another. Which he did very well in that movie. I love pretty much every Mel Brooks movie I've ever seen.
Yeah.
I don't have
most of them. Yeah.
But I do think of him in that role. But my first thought is always go straight to Princess Bride.
Every time, yeah.
And
he is Wesley.
He is Wesley, and the guy who plays Inigo Montoya, I saw him in. He was in what? Criminal Minds, I think.
Criminal Minds. Something
Dead
else.
Like Me.
Yeah.
He was in that, and I just don't care. That's all I see him as. I think of Andre the Giant. I wasn't a big wrestling fan. I think him as Fezzik. Like pretty much everybody in this movie is so memorable, and this movie made people's careers, and it's what everyone in this movie is going to be remembered for.
Yeah.
Except for maybe Billy Crystal.
Billy Crystal and Peter Falk.
Yes.
He played the grandfather. He was already, a legend by this point.
And I forgot Ben Savage was in this movie. Like that it's not a nitpick and it's not negative, but if you take out the grandfather and grandson, the movie still works.
Oh, absolutely
100%.
Does.
It's to a point where they don't even need to be there. And I remember watching this on the plane. I thought, can we skip them? Like, is there a version of this movie where they're not there?
Well, it's part of this movie's satire. This is a modern day fairy tale, and it makes fun of a lot of the tropes of it, and it's just how it's told, how it's read to the kid is. I don't know. I like the kid and the grandfather. I think it adds a little bit to it.
I think it does, but you could take them out, and the movie does not change at all.
That is the only thing in the movie I would ever take out is those.
Yeah, that's it. Because you could still have the narration, but you don't have to cut to him every time that somebody kisses somebody.
Exactly.
Just have him be like the narrator. That's all. You don't even have to see him, and I'm fine with that. But I'm also okay with it being there. Yeah. I just think that if you could take anything out, it would be that. I think my favorite line with the grandfather and the son is when he said, "See, I told you, Wesley did that." Yes, you're very clever. Now shut up. Yeah, but every time I watch this movie, I immediately skip to the Princess Bride parts. Like it's maybe 5 minutes of the movie at the beginning where he's sick in bed and they're talking. I skip that. I always do. I get right into the movie. Because it has nothing to do with anything.
When I used to watch it as a kid, I always started it at the part where they're like right after they get her out of the sea.
Yeah,
and right when they go up to the cliffs and Insanity.
Right when the cliff scene starts is when the movie really takes off for me. I skip I skip the part where they're in the boats. And all of that, I go straight to where they're climbing up the rope. That is where the movie starts for me.
Yeah, that's where the plot really starts.
Yeah, and I like I said, I don't mind the opening sequence or even the part that gets them to the rocks. That's just where I personally want to start the film.
Mm-hmm.
And there's because after they get up the cliff, those maybe 15 minutes are, in my opinion, my favorite part of the film. The sword fight and the when he fights Andre the Giant. I don't necessarily. That's not my favorite part of the movie, but it's a lot of fun. And then right when the Battle of Wits,
I love the Battle of Wits.
I don't know which part I love more. I don't know if I love the sword fight or the Battle of Wits more. I think they're pretty much even for me.
My favorite lines are both in the sword fight and the Battle of Wits.
Yeah, because they're like we said, this movie is so memorable. Like I think about 80% of this movie's memorable lines come from those two scenes.
Yeah. I would say so.
Which does not make the rest of the movie bad by any means because I absolutely love it. But you know, when they're sitting there talking about the six-fingered man and their witty banter back and forth while they're trying to sword fight, I'm not left-handed. I'm not left-handed either. And then you get to the Battle of Wits, which I could quote that entire scene word for word. And just the sarcasm that comes off of Wesley in both of those moments. He's climbing the rope. And he's like
just the confidence that he has. He's like, you're trying to trick me to give something away. It won't work.
It has worked. You've given everything away. Or he's talking about criminals. It's like iocane comes from Australia, and everybody knows that Australia is made up of criminals. So I can clearly not trust you to put the wine in front of you or whatever. And he goes, truly, you have a dizzying intellect. Just
wait
great.
till I get going.
Where was I? Australia, of course. And then you find out that, I remember that moment when I was a kid. The guy just falls over, dead. I'm like, oh wow, that was insane. Like, oh, so it was in that cup. It's like, no, they were both poisoned. Oh, wow.
Yeah,
that's such an iconic scene in film. Like, it will honestly. This movie has standed the test of time so far, and I think it will literally forever.
Yeah, I think it will too. I don't. There's nothing bad I can say about it. I can't say anything negative about this film. Not anything that matters.
Not really. No, I mean, yeah, sure. Some of the the rodents of unusual size and stuff like that, kind of dated. But I mean, the movie was made in what, the 80s?
Right, but that's I consider that a product of its time. It's not. I don't think it's dated. There's a difference.
I said it might seem dated. I know, to me, it's not.
No, I don't think so. I think that the writing alone, the dialogue itself, it stands on its own. There's not a point in the movie where I'm ever bored with what anyone is saying.
No, and I think that they add exposition in the right moments. Like when they're in the fire swamp, that the exposition of where he's been this whole time, that was a perfect place to put that.
Yeah, because you're just walking through the woods.
Yeah, well, they're walking through the woods trying to avoid danger, so you're paying attention, but also, anything could happen. If they'd have put that exposition just a couple minutes earlier when they fell down the cliff, and then she realized it was Wesley, before they got to the fire swamp, probably would have slowed down a little bit, but you still would have wanted to hear the explanation, but because they're in the fire swamp and anything could happen at any time, and things actually do happen. They're in the middle of a conversation, and she falls into the lightning sand.
Yeah.
And then
one of my favorite parts is when you hear the second time that you hear the fire about to start to spurt, he just picks her up and moves her.
Yeah,
he just keeps on walking like nothing happened. I love that part. The physical humor in this movie is fantastic.
And as soon as they're out of the fire swamp, one of my favorite lines: "Surrender. You mean you wish to surrender to me? Very well, I accept." Just he had the best lines.
He did.
He really did. And I don't really know where to go from here because I think I've gushed as much as I can. I really do.
Yeah. This movie is just it's. If you haven't seen it, you need to do yourself a favor and just sit down and watch it. Give it a chance, and I promise you will be pleasantly surprised.
Yeah, one of my friends, he hasn't seen the movie, and I remember when he told me he hadn't, he's like, yeah, I'm not really into that girly stuff. And I'm like, well, that's a misconception that I'm going to stop right now, because this is not a girly movie. Any man can still hold on to their man card and be a huge fan of The Princess Bride. I know where he's coming from, because the movie is titled The Princess Bride, which that's a 3-word title, and 2 of those words are about girls.
Exactly, and I also noticed too that you have this movie has a certain cult fandom, and when you have other films like this, like Star Wars and The Matrix and Indiana Jones and all your big ones, your Star Treks and whatnot, all the fandom is really just it's super just energized. But when you get to a Princess Bride fan and you start, oh yeah, the Princess Bride, it makes you feel good. I don't know. This movie is the ultimate feel good movie. You cannot be in a bad mood when you watch this film.
No, and we say this about several movies that we've talked about before. If I'm flipping through the TV and it's on, I'm stopping what I'm doing.
Yeah,
because this movie, I had to go buy groceries. Well, groceries be damned. The Princess Bride is on.
Exactly.
I'll starve. I mean, it's an hour and a half. I think I'll live.
Yeah, we can wait here.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a movie that I've seen countless times. We wore the tape out when we were a kid. My sister and I did. We wore it slam out.
Yeah, I remember just rewinding and playing that sword fight over and over again. Because when you're a kid and you find a stick, you're a master swordsman. Oh. That's just how kids' imaginations work. And I remember watching that scene all the time. And when I'd sword fight with my friends, that's exactly what I was trying to emulate, was that sword fight. Not like Star Wars or anything, just trying to be Wesley.
Exactly. And everything in this movie is just so well done. Rob Reiner knocked it out of the park, man. He's made 2 of my favorite films. The other one's Spinal Tap, and this one is just wow. It's definitely one of my favorites. It's in my top 5 for sure. I mean, because your favorite one changes constantly. Mine does anyway.
Yeah, because movies are constantly being made, and maybe when you get older you think differently about a certain movie that you saw before. But yeah, absolutely, this movie my opinion of this movie has not changed in about 20 years.
No, mine either. Not ever since I first saw it and really sat down and watched it. And I had to have been 6 or 7 years old when I first saw this movie.
I think I was about 9. My mom was watching it, and I was walking through the living room. She's like, "Come here, sit down and watch this." And it was right at the sword fight, and I'm like, "What are you watching? This is cool." And then he goes and fights this big giant guy. I like this movie. What is it? And I remember not watching it all the way through the first time because once they got out of the fire swamp, I kind of lost interest because I'm 9.
Right.
The action had kind of stopped. And it kind of does up until the end, which is fine.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
But I'm 9, and I'm thinking, all right, well, that was fun. I'm going to go do whatever I was doing. I'm going to play N64.
Yeah, because all in between there is nothing but just great dialogue. Everything's funny, and it's not gaggy. It's not on the nose. It's very clever. It's smartly written.
Yeah, so Wesley is captured, and he's in the pit of despair, and Humperdinck is outside. He's like, "Are you coming in?" "No, I've got a busy day. I've got to murder my wife tomorrow, and then I've got to blame it on such and such or whatever." I'm very swamped. Like that's just the way he delivers it.
Go home and get some rest, because if you haven't got your health, you haven't got anything.
Exactly. Like both of the
Christopher Guest steals the scene every time he's on camera. I love him.
I absolutely, one of my favorite moments, I don't know how many times we're going to say this. One of my favorite moments is when he finally comes face to face with Inigo Montoya. He draws his sword. "My name is Inigo Montoya. You killed my father. Prepare to die." And what does he do? He runs away. And I thought that was completely.
It takes him a second to realize what he's done.
Yeah, it took me like 3 or 4 tries to get through that movie, but as soon as that happened, I just remember laughing.
Yeah, it's just, there's so many moments that are just, they make you laugh out loud, and they're not, like I said, they're not jokes that are set up. It's very hard to write humor like this. I equate it to, if you like Frasier, then you'll like the humor in this movie.
Yeah, because a lot of it, I would say about maybe, for me, 70 to 75% of the things that get a laugh from me out of this movie are all sarcasm.
Yeah, sarcasm and double entendre. And
they're very heavily in this movie.
Yeah. They're just simple things like, you seem a swell fellow. I hate to kill you. You seem a swell fellow. I hate to die.
Or when he's climbing up the rope, or he's climbing up the mountain, and he goes, "I don't suppose you'd accept any of my help. I give you my word as a Spaniard. It also doesn't help that I'm waiting up here to kill you." That does put a damper on our relationship.
Yeah. and one of the when he's climbing the rope. Inconceivable. You keep using that word. I do not think it means what you think it means. It's just everything just comes so naturally. Nothing's like, aha, point to the camera, wink, wink, wink. We don't do any of that
because it's realistic dialogue.
Yeah,
it's not set up to make you laugh. It's what you would expect people to say in these situations, and it's so perfect.
Where am I? Why am I on this wall? Where's Buttercup? Okay, let me explain. No, there's too much. Let me sum up.
Exactly, and
I mean, we can sit there and quote this movie all day.
And what I think might be, this disappointed me when I was young. Not so much now, but there's sort of a climax, but not the one you were expecting. I was expecting Wesley and Humperdinck to fight to the death, or at least fight till there was a winner. Yeah. And there was a speech, and that was it. And that disappointed me earlier, but now I'm okay with it, but I still would have liked to have seen it.
I like the speech.
I do too.
It works. It works for the situation, because he's near helpless. He can't really, he's got to bluff his way out of it.
Yes.
And his whole point in the whole infiltration thing anyway was brains.
Yep.
So he definitely outsmarted Humperdinck. He outbluffed him. Which the names he calls him.
Yeah.
and the whole to the pain speech is just
pain.
Oh my God. That way, when every shriek of every woman that cries out, "Dear God, what is that thing?" I remember when I heard that when I was a kid, I had to keep rewinding it because I thought that was hilarious. Still do to this day. That speech still makes me laugh.
It was a great speech.
That's the first time a man has ever dare insult me. It won't be the last.
It won't be the last. So, I don't know what else to say about this movie.
I don't know anything other than I cannot recommend it highly enough. I don't think I've ever come across an individual that's never seen it and then watched it and told me they didn't like it, ever.
Oh, no. The people who haven't seen it and they talk crap, they are...
Hipsters. They're hipsters.
I'm not saying they're hipsters, but maybe they're older and they missed it and didn't want to see it because, like my friend said, maybe they thought it was too girly, and they haven't actually... It's not that they're hipsters. They haven't given it a proper chance. And that's what I'd say to anybody is if you think certain things about The Princess Bride, maybe it's because of the name or you think that it might be too girly, trust me, nobody's going to take away your man card because you enjoy The Princess Bride. I know the manliest men on the planet who love this movie to death.
Oh, yes.
And they still go out. They still go out and they meet women. Okay, watching this movie doesn't do anything. It just makes you appreciate what references you're not getting at the time.
It's just a crowning jewel in cinema. It's a very special movie. It's always going to have a special place in my heart. And
some movies I see quite a few times, and I burn myself out on them. And I if I never see them again, that's fine. Like if I never see any of the Matrix sequels again, even though there's parts about them that I do enjoy, I could never watch them again I'd be just.
Not if I didn't have to. No.
Not if I didn't have to. There's certain comedies that I've seen 100 times. I don't need to see them again. I can quote them verbatim. I will watch The Princess Bride until I die.
Yeah, it's a movie that I have never, ever grown tired of.
Not one time. Like I said, I watched it on Saturday, knew everything that was going to happen, knew every line of dialogue that was coming, and still enjoyed it.
I mean, there was a point to where I put Star Wars on a shelf for way before Force Awakens and whatnot came out. I put it on a shelf for 4 or 5 years, just didn't watch it. I didn't want to. I'd seen it so damn much. But The Princess Bride, I can watch it anytime it's on. It's not, but I will say this: it's not a movie I actively look to watch.
No,
but if I see it, I'm playing it.
Or if you're at work one day and somebody makes a Princess Bride reference, and
now it's on your mind,
and now it's on your mind, and you got to go watch it.
Yeah.
But I agree with you about the Star Wars thing because I can't remember the last time I sat down and watched the original trilogy.
No,
it's been quite a few years.
It's been a year or two for me.
But it's so burned in my mind, like I'll never forget anything that happens in Star Wars. But am I going to go actively watch them? Maybe twice a year? No.
Mm-mm.
But Princess Bride is just so special.
It is. It really is. It's got something that other movies don't have, and I don't know if I can quite put my finger on it, but this movie is it's magic. I love this film.
It has an X factor that I would love to tell you what it is. Maybe it's the combination of it's a combination of almost every single movie genre that you can think of.
Yeah, it is.
It's a combination of some of the best dialogue that you've ever seen on film, and probably some of the greatest characters.
Yeah.
Like just Wesley and Inigo and Fezzik and Vicini and Buttercup and Humperdinck and the Six-Fingered Man and Miracle Max. I know all these people because they're such great, memorable characters. And Miracle Max, like, he's on screen for, 5 minutes? And my God, does he steal the show.
Yes, he does. Billy Crystal wow. And Rob Reiner had to leave set every time he was talking because he was laughing so hard.
Well, yeah, because it's Billy Crystal.
Mandy Patinkin, the guy that played Inigo.
Yeah.
I was watching a documentary, and he said that he bruised a rib because he was holding in his laughter during that scene.
Dude,
while they were filming it,
it's Billy Crystal being Billy Crystal.
Yeah,
like he's not Miracle Max. No, that's just Billy Crystal being himself. And I think they just gave him a rundown of the movie and let him just make crap up because he's doing exactly what people loved about him. Like they didn't change him at all.
Not really. No, they just put some makeup on him and said go.
Yeah. All right. Action. Say whatever comes to mind. And it was so perfect.
It was. I just like I said, if you haven't seen it, you've got to go watch it. If you are a fan of film, no matter what genre that you call your main genre, you've got to watch this movie.
This is a movie that they will be teaching in cinema classes.
I think so.
As long as the human race is alive, I believe, or at least I hope.
It's a great example of storytelling. Everything works.
Absolutely.
It doesn't drag. It never, ever leaves you asking what's going on. It never disinterests you at all. Everything's interesting. It's just, I don't know. It's just, this movie's just so goddamn charming. I love it so much. I don't, there's not another movie that I feel this way about. I promise you that.
I'm off the top of my head, I don't know. Because there are definitely movies that I love more than anything. Like I like Raiders, The Matrix, Back to the Future, things that we've already talked about. Mm-hmm. All just hallmarks of cinema, but they're not what The Princess Bride is.
Exactly. Because those movies you can still pick apart, and you can still find flaws in their filmmaking and in their storytelling. This movie you can't do that with. It's an anomaly of film criticism. I don't know how you can not like this film.
Well, ask the people at Rotten Tomatoes because it has a 97, not 100.
Well, 90. There's always going to be those 2 or 3 assholes out there that.
What I want to know is, like, I wonder if those 3%ers, I wonder if there is, like, I want to know what they find so wrong about this movie.
I'm actually going to have to go read those reviews.
Yeah, because I am seriously curious about what made you give it the score that you did. Because if it was up to me, it would absolutely have 100.
Yeah.
And, the critic score is 97, but the regular people, us normies, 100.
Absolutely 100.
Because I don't know anybody that's ever seen it that doesn't like it. I've never met another man or woman that said, yeah, I saw The Princess Bride. It was okay. No, you say Princess Bride. If you say Inconceivable,
everyone knows that.
Anyone who hears you say that word are going to be like, you keep using that word. I don't think it means what you think it means.
Every single time.
And then now you're in a Princess Bride conversation that lasts a good hour.
And yeah, it's wow. Every time I talk about this film, because like I said, I watched it today, and I'm still just in a good mood from it.
Yeah, that's another thing. It puts you in a good mood. Like my girlfriend and I broke up today. We didn't, but if we did, I'll just go watch The Princess Bride and I'll feel good.
Yeah,
and then I'll go drink and feel better.
Even though it reminds you that it's the whole moral of the film is it's that true love conquers everything.
True love cannot.
It's like it sounds like the cheesiest thing on earth to put into a movie, but it isn't.
And they say the words true love constantly.
And you never cringe from it.
No, it's the cheesiest line I've ever heard in my life. But Buttercup, she pushes Wesley over the cliff, and she finds out who he is. She's like, I thought you were dead. Death cannot stop true love. It can only delay it for a little while. Normal people, in any other movie, I'd be like, oh, God.
Exactly.
But in this movie, it just works. And
because of the way he says it. With such confidence, and he's...
And that's a testament to Cary Elwes, because every word he says is just amazing. Every line of dialogue. And I don't watch it a lot. Like I said, I usually start at the cliff scene, but this movie does so well of convincing you that these two, in 2 minutes, that these two were in love.
Yeah.
That's all you needed. All he had to do was say "as you wish," and 2 minutes later he's gone. I know that they love each other. The audience knows that they love each other. It was just so well acted from Carrie Elway's delivery and Buttercup's just. She's hot, by the way, or was. I don't know what she looks like now.
Robin Wright?
Yeah.
No, she's still pretty.
Yeah, but just those two in those 2 minutes sold me. I believed that they were in love. I believe they truly cared about each other. And
that's the thing, is that in any other movie, you give me just 2 minutes with a couple, and I would automatically say, you just tell me they're in love. And for some reason, this movie can do this, and I don't feel like it's trite.
No,
and I don't feel like it's just. I don't feel like they're trying to force it down your throat.
There is maybe one other instance that I would say that a movie sold it to me in a short amount of time. Like The Matrix, we ripped that apart with Neo and Trinity being in love. No, you're not. But I would honestly say that in Back to the Future Part 3, I truly believe that Doc Brown and Clara loved each other.
Yeah.
That's the only other time that I can recall where they sold me in the short amount of time that they had on screen together.
Yeah, I would agree. I would absolutely agree.
No other couple comes to mind. That's the first one that popped in my head. So,
because all the other great love stories, you have an entire movie to get to know the relationship and care about it.
Exactly.
This, it starts and ends immediately almost.
Yeah. It's, like I said, it's about 2 minutes that you spend with these two characters, and you buy it.
I don't know what it is about this movie. There's something very special about it. It defies just
regular movie logic, really.
Regular movie criticism, in other words. I can't think of a way to even spin how, like if we were just to do you were doing a pro point and I'm doing the counterpoint, I don't think I could do a counterpoint on this movie. Any other movie I probably can. And it's probably the same with you too, but this freaking movie.
Oh, I probably could, but I'd be lying.
Yeah.
I could make counterpoints all the live long day, but they'd be lies. Like, oh, I really liked the fencing scene. Really? That's your favorite?
Yeah, that's amateur hour.
Really? Are you okay? What? Yeah. See, I can't do it.
Yeah.
No. All right.
Yes, we have gushed and gushed and gushed, and
you sat through this long, so.
Sit through another hour and a half and do yourself a favor and watch this movie either for the first time or again.
Or just because you love it so much.
Yeah, because I guarantee anybody that's listening to this that has seen it before will probably watch it again very, very quickly.
I like to think so.
I hope so, too.
So, this brings us to the end of the episode, which is usually when we tell you what's coming up next.
Yes. And you did text me earlier, and I actually came up with an idea. You haven't seen either of these, so both of them would be very quick watches. I think we put it to a vote for our fans.
Okay. I'm okay with that.
We either do Bumblebee,
the newest
Transformers film, which I just recently saw. I've been putting it off. Or we do The Karate Kid.
The original.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That a lot of people are probably screaming right now. I have not seen The Karate Kid. It was before my time, and I was busy with other things. Like I was watching movies that were currently out. I was watching TV, Power Rangers, Ninja Turtles, all that other stuff. I just kind of got lost somewhere along the way.
And that's something that I just I get that from a lot of people. I grew up where The Karate Kid was it. That was the movie to watch, especially when Part 2 came out. But we'll get into that.
Wait, do I have to watch Part 2 or?
It'd be better if you watched all three.
Oh, there's three.
Yeah, I
knew there was two.
We're not going to talk about the next Karate Kid.
Not the Hilary Swank.
No. That movie does not effing exist.
That came on Disney Channel when I was a kid, and I remember this movie sucks.
It does suck.
I was 11.
Yeah, that movie is terrible.
This movie is dog shit. And I did see the remake, which I haven't seen the original, but I will just say this: it was not bad to me.
Oh, the Kung Fu Kid?
No, the Karate Kid with Jackie Chan.
Yeah, the Kung Fu Kid. That's Kung Fu.
Whatever, man.
I'm just kidding.
All right, so we'll put it to a vote then.
Yeah, we'll put that up later.
Or the Karate Kid. I can kind of already guess where that one's going to go, but we'll leave it up to the listeners.
Yeah, we'll leave it there.
All right, this was episode 7 of Press Play Podcast. Again, you can find us on Facebook at Podcast Press Play. And we try to get these up on YouTube the day before we put them everywhere else. But depending on how long they are, it's more of a process. So last week we weren't able to do it. Maybe this one we'll be able to. If not, we'll see you all on. This will be out on Wednesday.
Absolutely.